A huge decision for you will be to choose what class you want to be in Baldur's Gate 3, and we are going to cover them all in this video with a brief preview of each class to help you make your decision on what class you want to be in Baldur's Gate 3 with this quick class guide. I have plans to do a Baldur's Gate 3 class guide for each individual class in the future, but these are the 12 classes and 45 subclasses in Baldur's Gate 3, and at key points at leveling, you will be making decisions that will make your particular version you play unique. So replaying Baldur's Gate 3, even with the same class, will have some wild variety of options in the classes. Plus, you can choose different subclasses, which drastically change the class. So let's start with the fighter. The fighter's primary ability is strength. It's an excellent choice for beginners because it's not complicated and leveling one up is pretty straightforward and easy to understand in Baldur's Gate 3. Fighters are great at combat and you will be deciding what type of weapon style you want. Dual wielding, great weapon, which is two-handers, or perhaps you'd rather go into protection, dueling, defense, or archery. Fighters are proficient with light, medium, and heavy armor and shields. Now at level 3, you will pick your subclass, which is between the Battlemaster. Now the Battlemaster will unlock maneuvers which enhance attacks like being able to disarm the target, or the menacing attack where you can attempt to frighten the target or push the target back. Then there's the Eldritch Knight subclass. If you're looking for a little magic with your fighter in Baldur's Gate 3, then the Eldritch Knight will allow you 2 cantrips of your choice from the wizard spell list and learn another at level 10. This is the classic War Wizard. Also, the third subclass for the fighter is the Champion. Now the Champions are able to get an improved critical by getting crit hits with an attack roll of 19 or 20. Normally crits are only for a roll of a nat 20, however with the Champion you get it at 19 as well. You can also pick an additional fighting style at 10th level. Champion is the most simple and straightforward in my opinion, and excellent subclass for beginners that want a simple class. Fighters make great tanks with any of the subclasses, and they have good survivability with second wind giving them a heal. Also, another hallmark of the fighter class in Baldur's Gate 3 is Action Surge, which allows the fighter to make a second action on the same turn. This can be used once per short rest. Now the Cleric is a Baldur's Gate 3 class that draws magic from the divinity they are devoted to in order to heal and also bash in enemies' faces with their mace. They can stand right in the front of battle to bolster and heal allies, but they're not afraid to get some melee hits in as well. The Cleric's primary ability is Wisdom, but Constitution is also important since they'll be up close and personal. Clerics are proficient with light and medium armor, shields, and simple weapons, and your choices for subclasses are Life, Light, Trickery, Knowledge, Nature, Tempest, or War. These are the domains of the Cleric. So here's a brief rundown of each domain or subclass for the Cleric. So there's the Life domain, which is focused on healing and reviving fallen allies, things like Bless, Cure Wounds, Revivify at level 5, Death Ward at level 7, and Mass Cure Wounds, and Raise Dead at level 9, and more. Then there's the Light domain. This Cleric in Baldur's Gate 3 is interested in burning away the darkness, and gets spells like Burning Hands and Fairy Fire at level 1, Scorching Ray at level 3, Fireball at level 5, and Wall of Fire at level 7, and more. Then there's the Trickery domain. This Cleric in Baldur's Gate 3 is known for being disruptive, pranks and deception, and can use Charm Person at level 1, Mirror Image at level 3, Dispel Magic at level 5, and Dominate Person at level 9, and more. Then there's the Knowledge domain. The Cleric of the Knowledge domain is interested in study of knowledge and the secrets of the multiverse, getting Command and Identify at level 1, Speak with the Dead at level 5, Scrying at level 9, and more. And let's not forget the Nature domain. For clerics that want more of a nature-based approach, the Nature domain grants Animal Friendship and Speak with Animals at level 1, Bark Skin at level 3, and Insect Plague at level 9, and more. The Tempest domain for the Cleric is all about controlling the wind, water, and thunder, getting Thunder Wave at level 1, Gust of Wind at level 3, Call Lightning at level 5, and more. The War Domain Cleric wants to excel at battle, getting Shield of Faith at first level, Magic Weapon and Spiritual Weapon at level 3, Spirit Guardians at level 5, and Flame Strike at level 9. Whatever domain you choose for the Cleric, you can bet you'll be getting a good combination of healing and beating the snot out of your enemies. Now, the Warlock in Baldur's Gate 3 is very powerful and generally has a pact with a supernatural entity of some great power. It's a great beginner class for those who like spellcasting. The primary ability is Charisma, and they're proficient with light armor and simple weapons. Warlocks are more limited in how many spells they have available, but can be devastating in combat, and they have 4 subclasses. The Fiend. These Warlocks in Baldur's Gate 3 work in service of a Fiend for destructive means. You get the Dark One's Blessing right away, which means when you kill an enemy, you get a Charisma modifier. You'll be able to choose 2 spells between Burning Hands, Command, Hex, Witch Bolt, and more at level 3, and Scorching Ray and Blindness, and at level 5, you can get Counterspell, Vampiric Touch, and more. The Great Old One. These Warlocks in Baldur's Gate 3 are bound to ancient Eldritch beings and get Mortal Reminder right from the beginning, making enemies frightened when you land a crit hit. Some unique spell options for the Great Old One subclasses are Dissonant Whispers, Hideous Laughter at level 1, and Detect Thoughts and Phantasmal Force at level 3, and much more. The Archfey. The Archfey Warlock is known starting with Fey Presence to charm or frighten enemies in a 10-foot cube around you, Misty Escape at level 6, and Beguiling Defenses at level 10. Due to the versatility of a Warlock and the raw power, I do recommend it for those looking for a very interesting beginner class in Baldur's Gate 3. Now, the Ranger in Baldur's Gate 3 is a ranged combat class that offers a lot of utility. Their primary ability is Dexterity, but Wisdom is important too because Rangers get simple spells as well. Rangers are proficient with simple and martial weapons, shields, light and medium armor. As a Ranger, you will get to pick between your favored enemies. This could be the Bounty Hunter, Mage Breaker, Keeper of the Veil, Ranger Knight, or the Sanctified Stalker. And then at level 3, the Ranger will choose between its 3 subclasses. Beastmaster. The Beastmaster Ranger is bound to an animal companion. This allows you to summon a companion that accompanies you and fights alongside you. This pet is the core of the Beastmaster alongside your Ranger abilities. The Hunter. The Hunter Ranger is all about seeking dangerous prey and slaying it. Hunters can pick between the Colossus Slayer. If attacking a target below max HP, you do an extra 1d8 damage, or Giant Killer. If a large creature attacks you can use a reaction to attack back with melee, or Horde Breaker. If 2 creatures are close to one another, you can attack them both with 1 attack. Gloom Stalker. Okay, the Gloom Stalker Rangers in Baldur's Gate 3 gets an extra spell at level 3, and also at level 3, they can learn Dread Ambusher. Getting a bonus to initiative rolls, can move an additional 10 feet, and you get Umbral Sight to see out further into darkness. Now let's talk about the Rogue class in Baldur's Gate 3. It needs little introduction. The Stealthy Rogue's main primary ability is Dexterity, used for lockpicking, sneak attacks, and trap setting. Rogues are proficient with simple weapons, hand crossbows, short and long swords, rapiers, and light armor. The Rogue is a great class for sneaking around the shadows, scouting, and getting into places you shouldn't be. They have 3 subclasses. The Thief. This is the type of rogue in Baldur's Gate 3 that is the master of stealth and acquiring whatever they want. They get fast hands for an additional bonus action, and second story work, giving them resistance to falling damage. At level 4, they can pick from powerful feats like Ability Improvement, Athlete, Dual Wielder, Magic Initiate for Bard, Cleric, Druid, Sorcerer, Warlock, or Wizard, and much more. The Arcane Trickster. Now, the Arcane Trickster rogue in Baldur's Gate 3 has a touch of magic. Right away, you will unlock spell slots with the ability to get 2 cantrips, such as Mage Hand, Firebolt, Minor Illusion, Chill Touch, Acid Splash, and more. And with 2 level 1 spells like Sleep, Charm Person, or Hideous Laughter, also 1 spell choice like Burning Hands, Featherfall, or Magic Missile, and lots more. As the Arcane Trickster levels up, they get more and more spells. Now, the Assassin Rogue. Focused on the art of death, the Assassin Rogue gets Assassinate immediately, meaning if an enemy hasn't taken an attack roll yet, you have advantage on attack rolls. And if creatures are surprised, you get a crit hit. At level 4, the Assassin Rogue gets to pick from a powerful list of feats, such as Ability Improvement, Magic Initiate between Bard, Cleric, Druid, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard, and they also get mobile. They can also get mobile, sealed, tough, and more. At level 5, their sneak attack is upgraded to plus 3d6, and they get uncanny dodge. The rogue overall is very handy in Baldur's Gate 3, not just in combat, but outside of it as well to pick locks, take down traps, and obviously for scouting dangerous areas ahead. It's time to talk about the wizard in Baldur's Gate 3, a powerful spellcaster with arcane magic. Their primary ability is intelligence, and you will choose 2 skills between Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, or Religion. Wizards are proficient with daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaves, and crossbows. They only wear light armor and are very squishy, but super deadly. Wizards must choose between their different schools of magic to act as their subclasses. These are Abjuration. Abjuration spells that summon wards, banish enemies, nullify magic, suitable for those who wish to defend themselves and others. Evocation, which is creating powerful elemental effects such as bitter cold, searing flame, rolling thunder, crackling lightning, and burning acid. Conjuration, spells that produce objects and creatures out of thin air, billowing clouds of fog, summoning creatures, and transportation. Divination, parting the veils of space and time, mastering spells of discernment, remote viewing, and knowledge and foresight. Enchantment, entrancing and binding enemies, having creatures lay down their arms or charming them. Necromancy, the forces of death and undeath, manipulating energies that animates all living things, sapping life force from creatures considered to be taboo, by the way, by most societies. Illusion, dazzling the senses, befuddling the mind, illusions crafted to make the impossible seem real. Transmutation, modifying energy and matter, altering physical forms and mental qualities, turning one thing into another. The wizard gains some of the most powerful spells in the game, but as a trade-off, they can be slain quite easily if caught afoot. Now we've got the Druid. In Baldur's Gate 3, the Druid channels elemental forces of nature to shapeshift into wild animals. Their primary ability is Wisdom, and Druids are proficient with light and medium armor, shields as long as they're non-metal, and simple weapons. Druids are known as support characters, great healers, and defensive in nature, and with the ability to shapeshift and communicate with animals, they will have many options other classes might not get or miss when playing Baldur's Gate 3. Druids have 3 subclasses in Baldur's Gate 3. Circle of Land. These druids get wild shape to assume the form of a beast and can transform twice per short rest. They also once per day out of combat can replenish extended spell slots to cast more spells with natural recovery. They can shapeshift into a badger, cat, spider, or wolf. Then there's Circle of the Moon. These druids get combat wild shape, so as a bonus action, they can assume the form of a beast and can transform twice per long rest. The same shapes as mentioned before. They also get Lunar Mend to regain hit points while wild shaped. And then there's Circle of Spores. This interesting type of druid deals with mold and decay, believing that life and death are a grand cycle. They get Halo of Spores, which are spores that can be unleashed on creatures nearby, do necrotic damage, as well as symbiotic entity. And at level 6 they get Fungal Infestation, and at level 10, Spreading Spores. Druids are very interesting in Baldur's Gate 3 and worth a play for everyone at some point due to the shape-shifting, great healers, and extremely fun to play. The Sorcerer in Baldur's Gate 3 are natural spellcasters, getting their magic from their bloodline. Their primary ability is Charisma, and Sorcerers are proficient with daggers, quarterstaves, and light crossbows. They actually get the subclass right at level 1 and choose between Wild Magic, Draconic Bloodline, or Storm Sorcery. Sorcerers are admittedly very OP, so play this class to gain power through customizing aspects of your spell as you level up. Wild Magic. These sorcerers' powers come from ancient forms of chaos. They get Tides of Chaos to manipulate chaos to gain advantage on the next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. Wild Magic is a random magical effect they get that can summon a creature, switch positions with others, create a dense fog, healing, set fire to everyone nearby, enhance weapons, and so much more. Draconic Bloodline. These sorcerers get Draconic Resilience, getting maximum hit points increased by 1 for each sorcerer level, and dragon-like scales covering their skin, increasing their base armor class by 3 when not wearing armor. They also get to pick from Draconic ancestries, such as fire, acid, lightning, cold, or poison. Storm Sorcery. These sorcerers get tempestuous magic, using a bonus action to cause whirling gusts of elemental air to surround you, allowing you to fly up 10 feet without provoking opportunity attacks before or after casting a spell. Also, they get Heart of the Storm. At 6th level, they gain resistance to lightning and thunder damage. Also, when casting these type of spells, you get creatures of your choice in 10 feet of you to take lightning or thunder damage. Now it's time for the Bard. The Bard in Baldur's Gate 3 are known for casting magic through music. Their primary ability is Charisma, and they have a proficiency with simple weapons, hand crossbows, short and long swords, rapiers, and light armor. Bards must choose a starting instrument between the hand drum, flute, lute, lyre, or violin. And this changes the animations and soundscape when casting their spells. The Bard has 3 subclasses to choose between: the College of Lore, which Bards of the College of Lore pursue beauty and truth, collecting knowledge from scholarly tomes to peasants' tales, and use those to hold audiences and enemies spellbound. They start out with proficiencies in Arcana, Intimidation, and Sleight of Hand. And they get Cutting Words, which distracts an enemy and gives a 1d6 penalty to attack rolls, ability checks, and damage dealt. It is considered a reaction. Also, there's the College of Valor. These bards wander the lands to witness and relate the deeds of the mighty and inspiring heroes. They get medium armor proficiency, shield proficiency, and martial weapon proficiency. Then there's the College of Swords. These bards entertain with daring feats of weapon prowess. They get bonus proficiencies to medium armor. They also get fighting style and choose between dueling or 2-weapon fighting, as well as blade flourish. When they get to level 6, they get an extra attack whenever they take the attack action on their turn. Now it's time for the Barbarian. In Baldur's Gate 3, the Barbarian has primal physical strength and the power of rage. Their primary ability is strength, and they have proficiency with simple and martial weapons. Light and medium armor and shields, Barbarians deal high damage, and when fueled by rage, most certainly tearing through some enemies. At level 3, they will choose between 3 subclasses. The Berserker. These barbarians know that violence is both a means and an end. The thrill of battle is their call. They get Frenzy, Frenzied Strike, and Enraged Throw. Wildheart. These barbarians are attuned with nature that inspires their rage. They get Bestial Heart, with 5 different options based on animals, and they get Speak with Animals. Wild Magic. These barbarians are susceptible to the wild influences of nature, making them magic suffused. They get Magic Awareness, Wild Surge, which can produce many magical effects at random, Bolstering Magic at level 6, and Unstable Backlash at level 10. The Barbarian is an interesting mix, but one thing is for certain: getting attacked by one is extremely scary and unpredictable. The Paladin in Baldur's Gate 3 is my favorite class, by the way. They're holy tanks, they can do some healing, and are bound by their oaths. They get Lay on Hands for healing hit points or curing diseases or poison, and their primary ability is Strength. They are proficient with simple and martial weapons in all armors and shields. Paladins pick their subclass immediately at level 1, and these are their oath. We have the Oath of Devotion. Following the ideal of the knight, they act with honor and virtue to protect the weak and pursue the greater good. They get Holy Rebuke, granting an ally an aura that deals 1d4 radiant damage to anyone who attacks the target with a melee attack. There's also Oath of Ancients. These paladins fight on the side of light against darkness to reserve life and the beauty of nature. They get Healing Radiance, allowing nature to heal all nearby allies. They also get Oath of Vengeance. These paladins set aside their own purity to right wrongs and deliver justice to those who have committed the most grievous of sins. They get Channel Divinity, Abjure Enemy, and Vow of Enmity. and Relentless Avenger at level 7, helping you close in on an enemy's retreat. Basically, you can move after an attack of opportunity. And they have a hidden oath you can unlock by breaking your oath, called Oathbreaker. So Oathbreaker paladins are those who have broken their sworn oath. This can be unlocked in Baldur's Gate 3, and it's its own subclass. They get Spiteful Suffering, Control Undead, and Dreadful Aspect. Paladins are versatile and handy for every party in my opinion, but their virtues and their honor can sometimes be a bit too much for some people. You know, people who hide evil in their hearts, for example. And finally, we have the Monk in Baldur's Gate 3. It will be a very versatile fighter using different types of kung fu abilities, beating stuff up with their fists. They are great at unarmored defense, which makes their bodies as resilient as armor. The Monk has 3 subclasses: the Way of the Open Hand, Way of the Shadow, or Way of the 4 Elements. So the Way of the Open Hand, these monks get open hand techniques, manipulating enemies' ki, imposing effects on the target such as knocking prone, pushing away, or having no reactions. Also at level 6, they get Wholeness of the Body, which is an ability to heal themselves. And at level 11, they get Tranquility. Then there's Way of the Shadows. These monks get access to minor illusion and shadow arts, like Pass Without Trace, Dark Vision, Silence, and Darkness. And last but not least, Way of the 4 Elements. These monks get Disciple the Elements, learning magical disciplines that harness the power of the 4 elements. These disciplines need you to spend ki points each time you use them. Now, of course, this was just a general summary of the classes. I plan to do individual deep dives on each class in the future, and of course it will include each subclass. Videos such as this one takes an extreme amount of time, so if you found mistakes, please let me know. Of course, all the details were never meant to be here. That would be a 4 to 5 hour video. So I hope this did help you decide which class you want to play, and let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, my friends, God bless and happy gaming.